Since week 1, hopefully you've been paying more attention to your thoughts around food and your body and your diets and getting curious about where those thoughts come from. Because this week, we're going to start to take some of those unhelpful and potentially damaging thoughts and replace them with more helpful thoughts. This week, we're talking about the principle, challenge the food police. We all have disordered thinking around food and our bodies. Whether we got them from our families growing up or whether we picked them up from social media, some of them have a grain of truth in them, some of them come from good intentions, but now that you've been identifying them, you can start replacing them with more helpful thoughts. Your mindset is the most important tool you have. You can talk yourself into or out of anything. How many times have you opened up the Wodify app and seen your least favorite movement and thought, ooh, yeah, I'm really sore today. I could really use a rest day today. You can talk yourself out of going to that workout. Or you can say, ugh, I hate that movement. That just means I need to practice it and get better. I've got to be sure to go to the gym today. Paying attention to our thoughts is the key to becoming an intuitive eater. Last week, we talked about making peace with food. And changing our beliefs and thinking is the key to doing this.
So let's talk about some of the characters that might show up in our head. First, we have the food police. This is that harsh, critical voice driven by diet culture. It keeps you at war with your relationship to food and your body. Here we have the nutrition informant. This person is judgmental and colludes with the food police. This person gives you nutrition facts to help justify dieting or restriction or pseudo-dieting. Here we have the diet rebel. This is the angry voice that is born in response to restriction. It protects your autonomy, but also causes destructive eating behaviors. On the other team, we have the nurturer. This is the compassionate and gentle part of us. It's reassuring and soothing. This is the food anthropologist. This one can make neutral observations about food without any moral judgments. This is our rebel ally. It protects our boundaries, but not in a way that causes destructive eating behaviors. Here we have the nutrition ally. This one is interested in nutrition with no hidden dieting agendas. And here's our intuitive eater. You were born with this voice. It gives you messages and answers about eating that only you can know and helps you make decisions only you can make.
This reminds me a lot of internal family systems or parts theory by Dick Schwartz. He wrote a book called No Bad Parts, which is great. But basically he says you can take all these voices and talk to them like separate people, acknowledge that they're there with good intentions, but then decide who you want to listen to. Last week I told a story about having donuts in my classroom and having to make the decision whether or not to have a donut. That could have gone a lot differently if my thinking had been different. So let's replay that story. My student brings donuts to the classroom and I think, gosh, I've been eating so great. I really shouldn't have a donut. Donuts are so bad for you. I can't have that donut. If I start eating that donut, I'll never stop eating donuts. Well, maybe I'll just have half a donut. I really want to celebrate with my class. And then you eat the half a donut and then your brain goes, shit, I shouldn't have done that. I have no willpower. What's wrong with me? Now I'm going to be out of control. Ugh, why am I like this? And you're feeling disappointed, sad. Maybe you're feeling the fear of future deprivation. Maybe you're feeling fear of being out of control around food, despair. So then your thinking goes, well, screw it. Now I've already messed up. I might as well just eat the rest of the donuts, eat the whole box. I mean, Negative thinking leads to negative emotions, which leads to negative behaviors. Now, there's some types of negative thinking to look out for this week. Often restriction causes us to think in a dichotomy or binary terms. We're either off or on. It's all or nothing. So be careful of that thinking this week. Being all or nothing often leads to destructive or even self-punishing behavior. Then that reinforces that negative, unhealthy relationship to food. Also, watch out for absolutist words. So I always overeat. I can never eat a cookie. You can also watch for catastrophic or hyperbolic thinking. I'll never like my body. It's hopeless. That kind of thinking. This is usually not accurate. It is a little dramatic, One of my favorite authors' name is Elizabeth Benton. She wrote this book. There is some problematic language around food and diets in this book, so just know that going in. And she talks about how drama is just the story that you add to the real thing. So the real thing is, I ate a donut. You can either add a story to that of, well, I allow all foods and I'm gonna be fine. Or you can add a really negative story to that of, oh my gosh, I have no self-control, what's wrong with me, I'm such a loser. And that story that you add is the drama. So the more we can get rid of the drama, the closer to intuitive eating we can get. Another type of thinking that you can watch out for is linear thinking. We would like things to go in a straight line, from here to there, progress. But we know from experience in the gym that that's not really how progress is made. Anyone had the experience of you start to link together your toes to bar and you feel that rhythm, and then the next day you can't do it? Or you get your first muscle up and then you don't get another one for like weeks? Progress is not linear. So we need to be careful of linear thinking. It should go in steps all the way up to the top until I'm a perfect intuitive eater, and start thinking about process thinking and progress thinking. So this week, pay attention to your thinking like you've been doing. Try to identify which team it's coming from. If it's coming from an unhelpful team, a team member that is not going to support your journey toward intuitive eating, thank them for trying to protect you, and then ask them to sit down and replace that thinking with a more positive thought. Remember, we can replace it with something that's more neutral, helpful, and process and progress oriented. You are not your thoughts. And paying attention to your thoughts and remembering that you're the boss of them will help you make progress toward intuitive eating. If you do end up eating in a way that feels uncomfortable, unsatisfying, or out of control, you will be able to recover more quickly if you are using your positive thoughts. It may feel weird, uncomfortable, or even a little self-indulgent, but positive thinking leads to positive emotions, which leads to positive behaviors.
And if you're willing to share, I'd love to hear some of those negative thoughts that pop into your head and what you're replacing them with. So have a great week, and I'll see you at the gym.